Yeah.
For what?
Mhm.
Too bad.
Are you gonna join us?
Are you alive?
Yeah, we're live, and I'm missing. Cuz yes, I'm live. Oh, you got coffee. Mm. I did make a fresh pot in there earlier.
That's it.
Out of the thermos.
No.
There's some of the thermos.
Oh. Let's see. Did you put your reminder up today?
I did.
Okay.
I did put my reminder up.
No, I want that.
I didn't put it in freestanding, but I did put it into
that seasoning jar for my mix. So we'll look at your test results later. All right. What you been up to?
Well, we'll start off. What have I been up to?
Full-time farmer
Well, it's the first full week of
on vacation.
on vacation,
That's hot.
so just trying to get in the groove of things.
Yep.
And get a schedule-ish going. So there'll be some screw ups, but we'll figure them out.
Never script before.
Well, yes, but you learn by screwing up, so we'll fix it as it goes.
Okay.
Adjust.
Yeah.
Not really screw up, just learning.
Okay.
So, I did get everything into the to-do list thingy. I like that. I did.
That's a new program you're using.
Yeah.
To do Microsoft? Is it Microsoft product?
Yeah, Microsoft has a to-do product. And
so they can keep track of what you're doing?
Yeah, basically it's an electronic list that you can add in there. And then you can, check stuff off when you get it done. And it gives you that good feeling.
I'm going to sweat to death, though.
Oh, and I was going to stoke the fire a little bit more, too. So, but the whole to-do thing is you put a list in. It's an app that you can put on your phone. And you just put in your list, your things that you would like done. And so what I've done is I've gone through and added in all the things that are repeating throughout the week so that I can kind of just get a schedule of what happens Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, and maybe stay on track with what needs to be done. And I would say, despite all the wind and nastiness that happened today, that I was able to accomplish that.
If it wasn't nailed down, even if it was nailed down, it sounded like some things came up.
Some things did come up. So when I went to the Caterpillar tunnel today, so on the Caterpillar tunnel we have two end walls. Obviously, we have end walls on there.
Well, not obviously, we just got them on.
Well, I guess that's true. So we did. Was that this weekend?
No, I think we talked about it last week.
Last week. So we got end walls onto the Caterpillar tunnel. On one side, we have a zipper that goes like 9 foot up, so it like folds open. And then on the other side, we anticipate putting in two zippers on, so it can kind of roll up like a garage door. And the anchors that we put in for the bottom piece, with the wind that we've been getting and all the rain that we got last night, it basically lifted up and pulled those two posts out of the ground. They're only, I think, a foot.
18 inches, something like that. They weren't very deep.
They weren't very deep.
And it was wet when we put them in. So
that too. So
things like that'll happen. Pretty easy fix, though.
Yes, it was an easy fix. And No, there really was no damage. It was just it was good that I caught it at the time that I did. I was in there taking the agribond or the row cover off of the lettuce so that we could do some foliar nutrient spraying today
Yeah.
and give them some sunshine once that came up. So
Batteries
um,
have to be charged to be able to spray though. With those sprayers, we actually have a battery powered fogger. Technically, is what it is, but
yeah, but that went through maybe 4 sprays.
probably. But
I mean, so
it needs to be charged so that
well,
when we go to use
yeah,
it,
then it's ready to go. But um, but the crops are coming along pretty nicely.
yeah, we're about a week off from being able to go to market this weekend.
Yes.
So we're going to forego market this weekend, and it'll be 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, from today, essentially, or from Saturday. It'll be 3 weeks from this past Saturday.
3 or 2?
Three, because this weekend comes up a market. It'll be 2 weeks after that.
Yes. Well,
So,
I guess that's true because today's only Monday. So
and we'll
yeah.
have more than enough to take to that. We'll have spinach. We'll have our
Yeah,
base mix. We'll have a lot.
we'll have
Take that, so.
a good variety of stuff to take. So that'll be good.
Might even have some
The
turnips and radishes actually by that. Well, we should. They're that about that tall now.
I
So,
know. But things take so much
patience.
longer in the winter. So much
Patience.
longer.
I know.
Oh.
Everybody's ready for turnips. I've got to get more on the ground. But I've got to do it too. So.
Well, the next succession is it inside or outside?
We can just plant it over top of it.
Maybe we just plant it over the top.
They'd put Salanova over the top of it. So.
Oh, bummer for everybody else.
Oh,
But I
that
guess it had to be in the ground.
50 foot of turnips. We'll see. We'll see what the demand on those are. And then, I mean, as soon as we can get stuff outside, we had 3/4 of inch of rain just shy of that last night. So kale's ready to go out. Kohlrabi's ready to go out. Turnips and radishes are ready to go out. We're doing some poly low tunnels now. They call them quick hoop. You can do them with metal EMT, um, but we are using the gray 1/2 inch conduit that you can buy at Lowe's, which you say was like 7 something a
Yeah, they're
stick
like
for
780 a stick or
for
something like
10 foot sticks.
that.
8 foot.
I'm
Yeah, those are
pretty
10
sure
foot.
they're 10 foot
They're
sticks.
10 foot sticks, and that'll actually cover 2 of our beds very nicely. So we're just gonna put some of those out, and as soon as we can work the ground, then we will be. Which right now it looks like probably on some of the beds, 3 or 4 days we'll be ready with some good sunshine.
Yeah, the good thing um,
But
about a lot of the past couple storms that we've gotten that have dumped a bunch of rain has come behind it a bunch of wind.
yeah,
And it has dried ground out, at least the surface level, so that you're not slopping around in a bunch of mud fairly quickly. So by the end of this morning things were of course super sloppy. This evening things are just kind of tacky. So
yeah.
I mean, I think it probably would have been pretty nasty if we didn't have the wind that we did. There was one time, so I was in the greenhouse most of the day today, and doing some seeding, getting things sowed for lettuces is what I was doing today. And there was one point I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this thing's gonna come down, and just pulled up Weather Underground to see what the gust was, and it had 35-mile-an-hour gusts on it, which doesn't seem like it should have been that big of a deal, but that
Pretty strong wind still.
pretty strong wind. So I don't know. I know we came out a lot better than others.
I don't know what do you mean.
Well, down in central Missouri, I'd seen where there were quite a few trees down, and they had.
Well, I think south of us they did. I mean, Oklahoma and South Kansas got quite a few tornadoes last night, and quite a bit of that stuff still.
Yeah.
Just stay down there.
Yes, they can.
We're not doing a live or anything in here, so.
The dogs are going crazy. Why don't you tell them about the greenhouse issue?
What greenhouse issue? There wasn't no greenhouse issue. So I put a video out, and we had temporarily put in some power to the greenhouse, and we've got a. I've had a forced air furnace just sitting around for a while. Well, actually, it heated this building before we got the wood in, um, pretty temporarily, and I knew I was underpowered as far as the wire coming into the greenhouse, and it had been running for probably 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks straight now, and hadn't had an issue. And it must have ran all night long. We got down in dang near single digits, 10 degrees or so, and it must run all night long and blew the power sometime in the night. So we lost most of our tomatoes. And I'd say by 90, at least 80%. Luckily enough, I had already ordered some more of the Celebrity Plus tomatoes and a few of the other tomatoes. I had put another order in because we were just shy, and so I'd already put an order in. Those actually came in today, so I have another order put in to fill in the rest of the tomatoes that we lost. But those tomatoes were the ones supposed to be going in on in 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks now.
Yeah.
And so, luckily enough, we had those already on order. They got here today, and at least they got them planted. So, what we did lose in there is going to be pretty quick and easy to replace. Um,
They're just gonna be behind as far as growth goes, 'cause
well, they might be, but there again, when you put them in the tunnel, and they are going in the first tunnel, which does have a furnace in it, and rather than putting cloth on those, I've been actually been putting the furnace on to, I think I've got it at 35 degrees or something like that, just to keep it above freezing in that tunnel, and everything else we have
mhm,
ground cover,
row cover.
row cover on, just to give it a little bit of an edge to keep the cold off. Now those are all coming off because we're in the 50s and all this other stuff, but um, I've been doing that just to prep the ground for the tomatoes to come back in. So it may or may not. It's still cool, so it's going to slow everything down. But when they're young like that, it may not affect them near as much. So we're going to find out. We'll have some bigger ones to put in, but most of the smaller ones, and they'll catch right back up. So not too worried about it. It was just it sucks that it
It
happened,
sucks.
but I think most all the herbs actually survived. There's a few that had a little damage. The peppers, I'm still amazed. It doesn't appear we had any damage on the peppers,
Right, and
which
things were
price
very,
frosty.
very frosty.
Now the peppers just barely have their true leaves on, which they're behind what they should be already.
Well, their true leaves weren't out whenever this happened, though.
Well, I think some of them were, but obviously they couldn't have been too much.
No,
So,
yeah.
but let's see who we got in here now. We got Tag and B. Hello,
Hello,
cul-de-sac.
hello.
No damage at cul-de-sac. That's good to hear.
That's good.
So I know you were maybe just to the north of that. So Spags is here.
Hello,
Good
sir.
evening. Starla, good evening. So let's see. Big Kid, how we doing this evening? Cul-de-sac says, sorry to hear that. Just sowed about 100 peppers, hoping to do kale and tomatoes tonight too. I feel so behind. Oh, I don't know. I don't know that you're behind at
No, you're
all.
not.
We were gonna try to get kale. We've got kale that is about that tall. Just
Yeah.
it's almost perfect to go in the ground right now. But there again, with the storms that came through, I'm glad it wasn't in the ground. It's going actually outside, and so the ground is a little moist to be putting anything in the ground. So we don't have kale out. Kohlrabi should be, but our peppers are oh they're tiny, and we were I think we were 2 weeks behind than what we should have been doing peppers, but
That's true.
that's okay. And we're
And I
always late on peppers.
think
Always late.
also it took forever, and it seems like it takes forever for peppers to come up. But I think I planted them a little too deep,
Yeah, and I got that
and
tool.
that
That
doesn't
tool
help.
has definitely I think helped.
Oh yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know how it does as far as speeding up with efficiency,
Oh,
but I
it's fine.
definitely think the consistency and everything. And we're talking about the I'm gonna forget what that company was called.
Soy
So
so plant
yeah,
soy
but they
plant.
do a roller. It's He does it off 3D printer, and it goes right over a. You can get it for 250, 72, 128, and all that good stuff. So,
Mm.
Eagle Lover, good evening. Um, but yeah, peppers, tomatoes. What I'm gonna do next year is I'm going to build. I'm gonna do a whole video on this, but do a warming bench on the whole thing. And we've got the hot water heater, and just run tubing and a circulating pump with warm water in that, um, and that will really well. That will allow us one to drop the temperature in the greenhouse,
Mhm.
but two, it'll keep those peppers, tomatoes, um, eggplant, which eggplant is doing amazingly well,
Yeah.
and it didn't miss a beat on this frost either. So, but that all that stuff can be on that, and it'll be probably double the size of what it is now, and really be keeping up. So,
It's amazing how resilient a lot of vegetables are. I mean, like, the house was frosted. Like, if you would have touched something, it was like, don't touch it. Like, don't put water on it. Don't let it
we just
just
turned the furnace on
just
and walked out. I reset everything and
literally.
turned off what I didn't have to have in there, and so back to that whole thing is that's what, and I put that on the video. I meant to get out there and actually show how we did that. Um, Spag says Lisa check your text, but I was going to show you how we hooked that all up, and I can go do that a little later. But we ended up putting a sub panel in there that actually is a 100 amp sub panel. I truly got 100 amps. Actually, it's 95 amp wire off of 100 amp circuit now, and so we should not have a problem with any drop of power in that place now.
Right.
Now the trick is going to be, and I've not done this, is to put on a backup generator on that whole system. We have a 200 amp panel coming into that.
Mhm.
This all comes off of, we installed, what, 3 years ago now, probably. We had a 400 amp service come in
Mhm.
just for our farm
Mhm.
back there. That doesn't include the house or anything like that. We just brought in a 400 amp service to make sure that we had everything. Now that that was all in preparation of the freezers, the coolers, the community building that we're gonna. That is my next project to start now. Is to start with the freezers and coolers, get that covered, and start getting the footprint for the
The building.
classroom and community building,
Mhm.
pack room, certified, the next certified kitchen, the upgraded certified kitchen, um, slash classroom kitchen, and all that built. So that's my next project. That's what I'm going to start on, is getting that kind of stuff done. But that all that power is brought in for that purpose. Um, so, needless to say, going back to that, I shouldn't have a problem with that with the greenhouse anymore. So that's good. And on top of that, while I had the trencher out, I actually got water dug. So she's got constant
Doesn't
supply of
freeze.
water, and it doesn't freeze. She didn't have a had to run a hose, and that's how we were temporarily doing it.
Ah,
I have a hydrant outside of the greenhouse into one of the
yeah.
gardens, and I just ran a hose straight into the greenhouse. But she'd have to turn the water off of a morning, or every
Well, in
morning
the
she'd come
evening.
out, or
Yeah.
of an evening,
Yeah.
or she'd come out and the hose would be frozen.
Yeah. On a stupid garden hose, if you have like 6 inches or a foot in that thing that is frozen, you're done.
So she'd drag it all in the greenhouse, let it thaw out, and then water. But
Yeah.
makes it a little bit easier. So, Eagle Lover said she transplanted 6 tomatoes to the garden today, having a time getting peppers to germinate. We
80
have,
degrees.
yep, it's hot, and we've always had the problem is peppers will last in the soil a long time,
Yeah.
and we've had peppers when we didn't have the germ chamber, we'd have peppers come up in April in that some of that stuff when we were
Yeah.
getting ready to do, especially our outside peppers, and we never had good germination on our peppers without a germ chamber. A heating mat, if you have a heating mat, absolutely, it's worth it for peppers. So, what are you looking at?
Oh, I seen where Starla said her rain was dirty.
Yeah,
I
I didn't
missed
see the
that.
beginning of that, so I didn't see that the beginning of the conversation. So,
Crazy.
but I don't know. We up to our north, we have all the roads are washed out. I mean, it really came down apparently to our north, but we don't have that. We didn't have much issue around here. So,
Hmm.
but Big Kid said he needed to start plants in the next 5 to 15 days. I'll find out. I find it. I do it best. The plant late here so that I'll give him 5 or 6 weeks before going out. Yeah, absolutely. That's we're always because of what we do. I tend to start everything early, and if I have to throw a flat or two away, um, that's just what I do. So, especially things that are successional. I mean, we there's things that we plant every week, and it's just easier to have them and be able to plant them than not have them and be able to plant them. So that's kind of what we did.
Yeah.
But
So what Spags was talking about
Eagle
is
Lever, I'll
uh
get through that real quick and catch up. But Eagle Lever, Texas peppers can be finicky. It
mhm.
says big kid, yeah. Do you get a chance to to look at any of that link?
Oh, that was for tag.
Okay, sorry. Or smelled funny and today trying to wash vehicles. It was sticky, not wanting to wash off. Hmm. What?
Residue from all this stuff burning off
Yeah.
in the air.
Well, and there's been
That
several
would
more
be
factories that I guess have been going up too. So
yeah, you don't hear much about those.
yeah, she says I cul-de-sacs that I don't use heating match. Just put them under a T10. I think shop light and the light keeps them warm. Absolutely. Yep, that'll work.
Yeah, especially with the
Closer to
black.
them, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's got a black tray on it, that'll absorb it. You know, it has been 14 days.
Yeah.
Started more seed today, just in case. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
and
what.
you know, on
Well,
what the germination, um, we have kept seeds like and use them the following year, but the germination on them goes down.
unless they're frozen. I mean, and you have to
Yeah,
keep them frozen.
yeah,
Otherwise, the germination. I think it's
germination.
probably about a 40% drop just from that first year afterwards if they're not kept right. But
It's a pretty big drop.
yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Ooh.
so blanket use an electric blanket to the blanket under the plastic tablecloth. Yeah, that would work too. That would work too.
I have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So big kid may lose connection. You getting? It sounds like he's getting some storms still down there. So
Ooh.
and
That's fun.
Starla has a germination chamber. That's right. I do remember that. So what was you going to say about Spags?
Um. So the Midwest Preparedness Festival,
Preparedness.
Preparedness Festival.
Preparedness, not preparedness.
He's got it.
Whatever it is.
It's not coming out of my mouth. Anyways, we have done a sponsorship and are um helping out with that event this year, this spring and fall. But we have donated $25 gift certificates for them to be in their drawing. So if anybody is interested in those, um, that is out there.
I'm looking forward to going to that this year because we've never been to that yet.
No, we have
We
not.
we were in Tennessee last year when it was going on. So
Yeah.
for the fall. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
very much looking forward to going out there.
So I need to put it on the calendar though, because if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen and we don't plan for it.
Or it does happen and we
Miss
we
it.
miss it and we start really really late and we don't get there.
Yes. So
No.
there was an event this weekend that we really wanted to go to. There's a local.
Oh, this weekend too.
Yeah, this weekend we have a local
Another
community
community, but
farmers,
it's based mostly on cattle
cattlemen,
and sheep. Animal. It is cattle and sheep. I mean,
cattle and sheep.
that's
Yeah.
what the guys are for the most part. But what they do is we tour each other's farms and
Yeah.
kind of just
Yeah.
talk about how people are doing, what they're doing, and they are. The group is called Green Hills. Green Hills Farm Tour Project.
Farm project.
Yeah, Green Hills Farm Project, and but yeah, we just go around to different farms every month
Mm-hmm.
and kind of just talk as a group and help and give advice where we can give advice or where advice is wanted or
Yeah.
um,
And
just different stuff.
Yep, and they usually because we haven't done a farm tour. We've been wanting to, we just haven't, you know, pushed the button on it yet. anyways, they usually also have somebody come in and speak. So, like, the guy down the road that had one, he had a organic fertilizer guy come in and teach you how to, what the heck is that called?
Well, he
Um,
wasn't really a fertilizer, but they do a certain. They do. Now you're gonna get me all confused on it now again. Um, I'll think of it here. The word I'm thinking here in a second.
compost tea,
It's not compost tea, but he did
humus,
humus is what he
humus,
did. But they did a humus compost, which is not compost. It deals different.
right?
So and then they don't really do a tea because a tea is an aeration. And so what you're doing with that is you are getting microbes out of that compost tea and being able to do that liquid. But the problem that they have with that is the bubbling of that and that aeration of that is violent enough that you're actually killing off some of the microbial life within that. Um, there's a lot of sales points that could be said or could not. What's better? What's worse? I mean, it's something that you can do inexpensively at home. Is
Mm,
compost tea. This system that they have, you have to buy a whole big system, and it's if you have a community that has one, it can be fairly inexpensive to do use that product, and it is, from what I can tell, a very good product. Um, but it's an expensive setup. But like I said, the neighbor down the road, I haven't been able to use it yet, but it's something I plan on using, and at a pretty affordable price for organic fertilizer at that point. And it's so yeah, it's just a
yeah,
different type. So
yeah. So they, I mean, they talk. They're more like farm-based speakers. One time they had like just soil education. The different types of soils because not everybody knows that, even though you might be in the business or run cows or whatever. And so
it
it's
vary
just a.
wildly from everything from cover crops to
Oh
just
yeah,
different techniques that you're doing on the farm. I mean,
yeah,
that's literally
yeah.
what we're looking at because it's a lot of them are we're always looking for that next edge on how to um, raise a better
Hmm.
product
How to serve the community
and
better.
how to serve the community
Yeah.
and lessen our price to lessen the cost of it for the community. And there's all this different stuff that we're just trying to gain that edge, if not for business, for the community. So
Yeah.
really neat group. It's
Yes.
just we don't find ourselves there very often because we're busy. Two,
You
we
you
miss
didn't
it.
put it on the calendar.
We didn't put
Actually,
it on the
I
calendar.
put it on the calendar. I forgot to set the reminder. And the bummer thing about it was, so it was their annual like kickoff meeting, and they had a farm from Iowa come down, and basically they kind of do what we do. They're an
Yeah.
all around thing, and we really wanted to listen to them. And it started at 9:30, and 10:30. I'm going.
So she calls me, and I'm at work going, "Well, go."
It's an hour away.
It's an hour away, but yeah. Cul-de-sac says she didn't freeze
Mm.
them, and some are saved from 2019. So you're
Well, then you
definitely.
do better than we do.
Well, what do you mean? No, she didn't freeze them.
Oh, she didn't freeze them.
So that's definitely probably a big issue with the peppers.
Yeah.
And there again, seeds are different. Some seeds store really well. Kohlrabi. We've had kohlrabi seed
Oh, yes, and
from
okra.
2019, 2018, probably something like that. It
Yeah,
was a big bag. The
yeah.
germination is absolutely horrible. So we're double, tripling our plantings on a lot of that just because the germination is not there. So
Or what we did this year before we even started planting everything, if it was over 2 years old, it's going to the
well,
cover crop.
yeah, it's gonna. I'll
It
get
goes into the field.
yeah in about 15, 20 days. As soon as the soil's ready to be, I can get out there on the pastures. I'm going to have David on the tractor, and he's going to start spreading seed for cover crops, and then he's going to start dragging. So that'll all go into there from everything from okra to whatever. I mean, vegetable seed, and we're going to do a probably ryegrass, uh, oats cover crop this year. So on several acres. So, but
Yeah, it'd be good.
cheaper can start more plants. Yeah. Going to have a blast. Happy you're coming. We are excited to be coming. So,
Yeah.
and thank you. That we are a blessing to any community. So
Thank
we
you.
appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
But
Yeah.
So we had the mishap, the fix on the greenhouse.
Mhm.
So what else? I mean, you've got all kinds of seed been going today. Big orders coming, or our big order came in today for the tomatoes and stuff. So that's all gotten in.
And I imagine the delivery guy was like, "What in the world are they planting?" So Andrew had bought a 50-pound bag
Of peas, yes,
of peas, and yeah, well,
for microgreens.
yeah,
So
microgreens, yeah. But I mean, anytime the kids walk by them, they always eat off of them. So, but
well,
actually, I mean, it takes quite a bit of peas
and the
to.
animals have been eating them up like crazy. So we've been doing that and giving those to the chickens and doing
Mhm.
that because we switched everything. I'm not sure if we did that, if we had talked about that or not last week. But we switched the actual chickens over to
Oh no, I
straight
don't know that
organic
we have.
feed,
Mhm.
which is outrageously expensive.
Yes, it is.
So we've been cutting back on them to see what we kind of we've been experimenting. So I think we did talk about that a little bit with the chickens, but
I think
it's
so because we
just
finished
over a
our
quarter
egg.
of a pound per day per chicken,
Yes, we did talk
with a third of a pound, just under a third of 0.29 pounds per chicken. So we're going to start cutting that back. Probably going to cut that back to about right at a quarter of a pound per chicken,
Mhm.
point or maybe 0.25 pounds,
Be a
and
quarter.
see. Yeah, that would be a quarter, and see if the production changes. If it doesn't change, we may cut them back just a little bit more and go to like 2/10 of a pound and see if we can't do. Because believe it or not, that 1/10 or that 9/100 will make a big difference over the course of the year. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, and the
so I was just laughing at Spag. That's thank you. 12 washing mine like slackers. When will the turnips be ready? I will order 6 chickens when the turnips are ready. Turnips probably looking at. We are actually going to be down in the Kansas City area in 3 weeks at the farmers market,
Mhm.
and so we can do a.
We're hoping they'll be ready then. I
They
mean,
should be in 3 weeks. I should have turnips.
at least small ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah,
know the
because 'cause they're
radishes will be
like you said,
done.
they're like this big.
Yeah,
Well, no, they're more like
yeah. So they should be in about 3 weeks. I'm thinking that they'll be around. So we can do a meetup down there if they're ready. So well, Lisa will be down there around that time frame. So
Yeah.
um, hypocrisies are here. Hypocrisies. I'm just. We've been saying that wrong. I'm assuming because that's how Tag said it last night. So that's where I'm going with it now. So if I'm wrong about, we've been saying it wrong the whole time. I said we probably look like you're numbskulls, but that's okay. Just lost one of the antenna towers. It had been up there for 14 years.
Aw,
Wow.
dang.
But anyways, your peas, those were going good. So that we were going back to chicken feed. So we've been supplementing with obviously the milk, and we haven't been cutting food back from the milk yet, which we should have been, but we haven't. So that's okay. Um,
But we've also had an awesome production
oh, it's
over the
oh
winter.
yeah. I mean, they've not slowed down at all. I mean, we've been at. I think we should have, and we've always said that 80% on average throughout the whole year. Now, when in the summertime, and that's egg production. So in the summertime, it should be in like the 95% you should have every single day, 95% egg production. And obviously that'll go down. But if you can average it at 80% all year long, then that works out well.
Mhm.
And David's been collecting eggs, and we've been ranging from that 85 to 92% of the um, hens laying every single day. So that's an extraordinary amount of and we don't do artificial light. They do
No.
that natural daylight. We don't do anything with that artificially. So it's just the feed and the protein. And there again, if chickens are molting and things like that, it's a protein issue a lot of times. So to get them back up, it's not bad for them to molt, but if they are molting, get them more protein, and that will lessen their molt time. So, uh, cul-de-sac asked if she needed to put an order in. I started to last night, but had analysis paralysis about sizes and stuff. So, when the time comes sooner, we can always we'll let you know, and that way you can put an order in that week, and we can get that because there's a way that we can you can actually put in. Um, I think. Well, we'll just we can worry about that
when the time
when
comes.
the time comes, and we'll let you know when the turnips are done. So that's not a problem. Uh, it says I've been called a lot of things. Fashionable is not one of them. Say the lack of the title is more of a compliment than being called it in the first place. Uh, so what else you been gotten going? Because I've just been picking up the slack wherever I can pick it up at. So I get home and just been doing more of the structural projects, I guess is what I would put it at, and filling it in. So
I
been
think you guys like hit it out of the ballpark this weekend. I mean, you guys were on top of things as far as the electric goes and the water goes, and
I don't know. That was some of your dad and whatever. Your son did a lot of that work too. He did a lot of the shovel work, thankfully.
like, 'cause he's
But
of that age.
yeah, he do more shovel work. I tell him it'll help with his workouts. He'll do more shovel. So
Well, I mean, we have been eating more of a higher protein meal.
yeah, he's all excited about cooking now because he's figured out high protein meals. So
He did really good tonight. It was a Philly cheesesteak pasta, basically.
hamburger helper,
Well, everything.
homemade. That was good.
Everything is hamburger helper, but
It was good.
actually, I really enjoyed the sauce. So the other day, he found a bacon spaghetti that was like high in
It's
protein.
I like bacon. I like spaghetti. It didn't sound very good, but it's not anything like you'd think. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. In the sauce, I'd never even. Of course, I'm not a highfalutin chef or anything. So, um, to make your gravy and all that, I've always used butter and onion and garlic, and then add some flour in, and you make a roux and you add your milk and yada yada yada. Well, this recipe called for 4 eggs, cream, and a little bit of cheese, and that was your sauce. And it is stinking good. Stinking good. So if you're looking for a way differently to make a sauce that is not just full of
You'll have to do it.
flour.
You'll have to have him do a video on it. That'd be a good video.
That is a good idea.
There you go.
That is a wonderful idea.
I heard Tag last night and B going, gotta make videos, gotta make videos, gotta make the same thing I say all the time. Gotta make more videos. You need to make more videos. You need to make more videos. So, uh,
Well, I'll tell you what, I can do a YouTube live or a Facebook live while I am seating.
well, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
There's a
It
lot of those out there where, people are just you have live things going and they're I don't know, just chopping meals or
Yeah. As long as you're engaged with
making
it,
a
and there's lots of things. Again, I've been promising Micro Mondays, and that has not happened yet. So I will get that done.
I
This
try.
week. This week I will get videos on micros, or you need to get videos on micros for me. So I did find a new
That's not on my
microgreen
to-do
that I
list.
want to. I'm going to order some seed on this order, and it is cantaloupe micros. They are supposed to be. I forget what the health benefits of those were, but supposedly they're really really good. So
What are they supposed to taste like?
I don't know if they taste like cantaloupe or what, but that would be my assumption.
You would not like them then.
I will not like them. I will not eat them, Sam. I am.
You will not eat them, Sam. I am.
I will not eat them with a goat. I will not eat them on a boat. So
I will put them in spaghetti, and
no.
you will like them. You will see with the bacon.
Yeah. Valkyrie says walking through the rice fields, shoveling levees by hand, especially with a shovel that had a steel pipe handle, kept me in shape as a lad. Yeah,
Oh.
I've had a good shovel like that before, and that will. I've got a broad fork that I had before we got into heavy in gardening, and before I could afford really buying a broad fork that I wanted. I had somebody build one, and I said, "Well, I want to go ahead and get the biggest one I can get." And so we got a 30-inch wide broad fork, and he welds. The guy was a welder, and so I said, "Well, it needs to be 30 inches wide," and I said, "I want 16-inch tines on it so that I can go down on it." Well, he put quarter inch, maybe it's half inch rod as the tine, which if you've used a broad fork, that is a massive round for a tine. Normally they're pretty flat, and or they're really thin stuff. So did that, and he used, I think it's
Inch.
inch pipe or inch and a quarter pipe. The handles that go up and square. I think it's 2-inch square tubing across, and it's all steel. I mean, it is a hoss. You could sit it on the ground and it'll actually start sinking in moist soil. But you use that thing down 100-foot bed, and
Oh my gosh.
your shoulders were burning after that. So I know all about the steel pipe
By the time the
shovels.
summer's over, you're nice and buff, man. It's
Well, even broad fork and light broad fork, you're still feeling it. But yeah.
yeah. Heck it does.
So, cul-de-sac says, Spags, I humbly owe you an apology. I was wrong about my underlying love and undeserved loyalty to the Chiefs. The parade was such an embarrassing and display. I'm just done. Yeah,
We didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. Um, I've seen a lot of press or a lot of talking about afterwards, and I would have to. I mean, I'd have to agree. Is you play, of course, the whole thing with football, and I do enjoy watching a football game here and there, um, whatever it may be, race car or NASCAR. We enjoy watching that every now and then. Don't basketball here and there, but college, I'd watch college every now and then. But we don't watch very much TV hardly at all anymore.
No.
But it really, when it comes down to it, it's no different than the Roman Coliseum. That's what those guys are there for, is to entertain you and give you
Yeah.
a something else to do to keep you occupied. I mean, that's why you have fantasy football. I mean, there are people out there that all they concentrate on
Oh yeah.
is this the gladiators, we'll say.
Yeah.
So I don't know, when I put it in that perspective of a lens and I start thinking about it that way, it's just the whole thing's a turn on. So them acting that way doesn't surprise me. They're young. A lot of them are in their 20s. I I'm not surprised.
But you would
Fantasy football is D&D for jocks. Yes, it's Dungeons and Dragons
oh,
is what that
okay.
is. So,
Okay.
which I did play as a younger lad, and I'm a nerd. I mean, I'm not afraid to say that. So I played all the sports and did all that. I was a jock nerd, I guess. But
Yeah, that would be right.
but I stopped. Tag had said that I stopped watching when they started kneeling. Yeah, that's about the same time. We turned it off. I mean, that was all I needed. But like everybody else, you kind of filtered in and watched here and there. But it's just
It's
that
not
over.
something that we like stop and
No,
go. I mean,
no.
if it's on,
If it's a Super Bowl or something like that, and we have time, then maybe. But if it's not, we watch the Chiefs. I grew up in a Chiefs fan, um, so that's kind of why we watched it. But if it, last year I couldn't tell you who was in the Super Bowl. I don't think we watched it or anything like that. So it's there again. It's an entertainment thing, and if you have time, okay. But there's a lot better things out there to do. A lot
oh,
better things.
heck yeah.
In fact, most things are better to do. But
Yep. They just occupy.
says culturally, sports is essentially a religion with the arenas being the cathedral. It should be something for fitness to teach and exercise teamwork, but it has gone far past that. Oh, absolutely, and
Oh
especially now that we're
yeah.
talking. I mean, college players are now they're talking about getting paid, or maybe they are getting paid, or all the stuff, and
Yeah, I did hear about
it
that.
literally will take the college game completely out of. I mean, it'll change collegiate sports if they are getting paid.
Well, in some form of fashion, they are actually getting paid because a lot of them
No
get a
doubt.
free ride, so that's your payment.
No doubt. I mean, they get special treatment. They get special. Yeah, they get all that.
Yeah,
They are getting paid, but at the same time, now they're actually going to
it's not
get.
money in their pocket,
They're
but
they're actually going to get money in the pocket. It sounds like that's what's going. So what's the best way to grow lettuces from seed? Eagle Lover at now. Eagle Lover is obviously in Texas. So the biggest thing with lettuce, depending on what kind of lettuce, but any pretty much any lettuce, is the germ temperature.
yes,
Okay, and the best way is to get pelleted seed.
yes, yes. Well, but it depends on how you're selling it.
Well, that's very true. If you're sewing it outside direct sew, then obviously you can hand sew it. It can be there's a lot of different ways. We use a small seeder, a pinpoint seeder. You can do it with a. There's lots of different ways of doing that. If you're going to hand sew it, the biggest thing is to put a shade cloth over it. To me, so you can get wire hoops. You can make your own wire out of I think it's number 4 wire is what you probably make that out of. But you can get the wire and it literally shade cloth is fairly inexpensive. It lasts for years and years. But literally, as soon as you cover them or as soon as you plant them, is to put that shade cloth on them. They need about they like that 70-degree temperature, and they
Mm,
like it pretty constant on that. So,
well, what about watering?
well, just a constant watering. The thing with lettuce is when they do get hot, they get a bitter taste, right? So midday watering is good for a lettuce. Harvesting, planting when it's cool, harvesting when it's cool. So it's either first thing in the morning is ideal, of an evening is second best. But there's that's about the only way. So
So, before they germinate, or while you're waiting for them to germinate, should you or can you put down like row cover to keep the soil moist? Because if
well,
you're
yeah.
outside, you're going to have all that wind and stuff and the sun drying up the soil. I mean, that's
Anytime you
something
can
that.
cover the soil pre, that's what we tend to like to do because it does keep moisture. It does make everything germinate underneath that, so you can essentially, if, in your climate right now, you could probably keep that on there for about 7 days, pull it off, and literally have all these sprouts popping up with a good moisture underneath there. You could weed all that. You could put that thing back down there, and you can do that over and over and over and over, and just disrupt the seed bank and get a weed-free garden that way.
No, I mean, like, so you sow the seeds
Yep,
and then kind of like what we do with
with carrots.
carrots, put a cover over it so that the moisture stays in.
No, I mean
I mean, that kind of be like being a germ chamber for
lettuce. You
you.
think about it, 2 days. I mean,
Right.
we're German carrots in 2 days, so it
Not
would
carrots.
not carrots, lettuce. Sorry, that would be what I wouldn't cover it if I'm going to do that. I'm just going to keep it moist. Um, but yeah, I think that I don't know that I would go to the extent of trying to cover it because more than likely you're going to miss that window. They're going to get leggy underneath there, and then it
True.
kind of screws the whole thing up.
True.
So, but
My
the
preferred way
best
is just
way
transplant.
is transplant for us. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. We do P200s. Um,
Those have been very nice.
you don't
Those have
have
been very
to
nice.
have anything to pop them. You're not trying to struggle to get them
Mhm.
out. Um, in a month, 12 weeks, 14, 4 weeks. I'll get it out of my mouth here sometime. But in 4 weeks, you can literally transplant any lettuce um, when it gets of a temperature. Right now, we're probably at about a 5 to 6 week window for us,
Mhm.
but we're still getting lows in the 30s. Well, I mean, it was just 10 degrees last week, so um, it's still taking us 4 to 6 weeks for us to be able to transplant right now. 4 weeks in the summertime is, I mean, that's just golden all week long, every week, and we'll do that. So, but transplants are absolutely for us the best way.
Yeah.
Um, when it starts getting warm outside, what we'll do is we'll take them from the greenhouse and we will generally put them outside if we can put them in a shaded area for like the afternoon just to get them used to the wind and do all this stuff. Now ours are the greenhouse is opened up quite a bit, so they're getting wind and they're getting all this other stuff. So that's not a big case, but we still will shade cloth. Um, lettuce is what the day we put them in for about a week, and then we take the shade cloth off and they're fine. And all of ours go in cloth, in ground cloth, and we do
Mhm.
a 4x6, so it's 4 rows, 6 inches apart, and they're offset. So,
Yeah.
and you've showed a video I think of that before,
Mhm.
but we need to do. I think we've shown it doing it. I don't know that we've actually shown the pattern on how what we use. So that would be another really good video. Um, but believe it or
I
not,
think
again with
in
that
there
black plastic or the black
is the
ground cloth, it is plastic, but uh, with that lettuce put in
it's
there,
fabric.
it's fabric, but it's still plastic
I
fabric.
guess it's a nylon
It's
fabric.
it's year after year after year after year. I mean, we've used that stuff for 5 years now,
Yeah, but when I
and
think of plastic, I'm thinking of
yeah,
trash bags.
yeah. Well, they do use that, I guess. So, but that fabric, that ground cloth fabric, uh, will keep that soil at most when it's 100 plus degrees outside at 80 degrees.
Mhm.
So even though it's black, it does absorb heat, and in the wintertime, or right now, it kind of helps. But even in the summertime, it blocks that heat from getting to that soil because bare soil will get 150 plus degrees without any type of covering. So if you can get straw mulch or anything, it's just anything we've ever used. We've used compost. We've used quite a bit of that stuff, and it's either you have to get it off of there, or it gets the lettuce so dirty, or there's all this different stuff. So we've just gone back to ground cloth until we can literally use some of these plants. And I don't know that I'll ever get rid of ground cloth with lettuce, just because it's so easy. And we don't
Yeah.
like the plastic, but it's a tool. And until we can figure out, or we have 50 people working on the farm just to go weed, that's what we're going to do. So, Eagle, how big do they need to be to go from seed, start pot to ground? Not very big. We look at the roots. So if you're able to pluck them out, but the lettuce itself is only that tall.
Yeah, so it depends on the pot or the starter pot that you put them in.
Yeah.
Um,
The smaller,
so
the better, but you have to get them out quicker. So you
yes.
have a smaller window. They make a less than a 200
Mhm.
pot.
They do.
And so, I mean, you could put a lettuce out that's only an inch tall
Mhm.
as long as the roots are established enough. That's where we found the P200 is a very good mix. It's small enough, the lettuce gets big enough, but the roots are covered in that whole thing. So it's literally as long as you keep it moist, it you can almost turn it upside down, shake it, and a lot of those will fall out.
Yeah.
So Spags says, "Have a great night, everyone. I have to bounce over to the porterhouse and Teal's Life in a few minutes. See you all around." Yep, I know that they are coming on live. Have a good night, Spags, and we'll see you a little later.
Cul-de-sac was asking about potatoes.
So y'all going to be doing potatoes? My seed taters came in yesterday. Um, we've always done a few potatoes. I think we're going to do some fingerlings this year,
I would like to.
and
Not
we're
sure
going to switch
when,
over to
but
that.
yes.
We've done some Yukon Golds, and we've done quite a few different ones, but we're going to try some of the smaller ones because what I want to do is I would like to maintain a bed within one of our high tunnels, and probably one of our heated high tunnels. What I'll do, what we'll do in our wintertime is we will literally keep those things just above freezing. So set them at like 33 degrees or something like that, and that will keep those potatoes actually growing. Because what they'll happen is they will get that tunnel will get 50, 60, 70 degrees in the wintertime during the day, and then I just won't allow it to let the soil cool down below freezing. So I think that will maintain that. So
Doing 100 pounds of Yukon Gold.
yeah, we
And
really like the Yukon Gold.
yeah. And we did determine that those are indeterminate or determinate?
Those are determinate plants, so you don't actually cover those back up. You don't
Okay.
bury them. So whatever you put in there, I think that's. I'm pretty sure that was Yukon Gold, but Starla said they had 800-mile-an-hour winds 2 years ago. Laid my corn down on the ground and I stood it up, posted ends in California, weaved it, and watered it, hilled it. Was fine. Yeah, if you hill, there's a lot of we. I used to hill corn, or I did last year, some of that, and it produces a stronger plant, right, by quite a bit. So
That's a lot of work. That seems like a lot of
that's
work.
that's a really strong wind too. So
Well, yeah,
I'm
I
sure
mean,
she meant 80, but yeah.
well, either way, it's still
Either way,
strong.
that's still strong. So
Yeah.
cul-de-sac says interesting about the lettuce. I've never transplanted it before. I've always just waited and direct seeded, and it's such a short season that it's not very rewarding on a small scale. Yeah, if there are varieties, and we'll talk about this, that's probably another video, and actually need to write that down. There are some varieties out there that are more heat tolerant for our climates, um, and we can go into that. Salanova is one, but Salanova, and there's I don't know 10 different varieties or 12 different varieties of Salanova.
Mhm.
They are not all heat tolerant. Some
Mm-mm.
of them get really bitter. Some of them just bolt really fast. Um, we can go over what we are actually growing, and I think everything that is our head lettuce, except for the iceberg, which is cris-
Beano.
crispino.
Mhm.
We won't grow that all year or all summer because it won't go. Um, let's see, we're doing New Fire Red. I think that's an all year long. And we will go over that, and if nothing else, we can have a list. If you want to email us, I'll be more than happy to email you over a list of what is heat tolerant for Missouri area.
Yeah, so the only place that we can find them is Johnny's.
Johnny's or as far as what? Sorry,
Salanova seeds.
Salanova. Uh,
I
they are expensive. I will give you that. Now, done right, especially this time of year, you can cut those things 3 or 4 times. So they are
Yes.
cut and come again if you want to.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can get them from Johnny Seed. The other place that has some Salanova that's a little bit cheaper. They're not Salanova, but they're a off. They're the what's the word I'm looking for?
Off brand.
Alternative. They're the alternative. Is from what's the one out west that we order from?
High mowing.
High Mowing Seeds. They carry a alternative to Salanova as well.
Mm.
So, but let's see. A 13 came up in a 1 inch tall. Yeah, she said doing the 100 pounds of Yukon Gold. Yeah, I really like the Yukon Gold.
Yeah.
Buttery and creamy. That's right. And
Yeah, they
actually,
are.
Yukon Gold are a different. They're not like any other potato.
The starch is different
The
on them.
starch is different.
Mhm.
So they are a quote unquote air quotes healthier potato. They're kind of like sweet potatoes are a different carb
Mhm.
than normal potatoes. So that's why you can have sweet potatoes and not other things. Yukon Gold is just a different start, so it reacts different with your body.
Yes.
So, what is your favorite lettuce in Market Garden? Starla asked. Well, we've done a lot of we've been doing a lot of experimenting. There's 3 or 4 lettuces we're doing brand new this year
Ye-
that are head lettuces.
yes. Yes.
So the
You, I really do like the Salanova now, but last year, crazy in that Crispino
Crispino,
Crespino
yeah,
is an iceberg lettuce. Yeah,
yeah.
it's an iceberg head lettuce, and
I don't know
it
that I'd call
doesn't.
it my favorite, but it was
No,
it was
it.
very very good.
There's different levels of lettuces
Yeah,
and what you use them for, and I was thinking iceberg. You get it at the store. It's just water and whatnot, but actually, it had flavor
yeah. I mean,
growing it at home.
there again, I mean, most people are, and the reason we grow that iceberg lettuce is because most people can look at it and say, "I know what that is."
That's true.
And so,
That's
as far
true.
as head lettuce, we grow that for that reason. But um, there again, it's like romaine lettuce. Romaine lettuce is a completely different lettuce from iceberg lettuce, obviously.
Mhm.
And so, most people know what those two are, and they most people that would like lettuce prefer to take the romaine over the iceberg. But there
Mhm.
again, it depends what you're doing. Where salanova is just an all around mix, but it's made for salad. It's not made for hamburger. It's not made
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
this different stuff. So I don't know that I have a the salanova is good, and I like
It's
the
versatile.
it's very versatile.
Yeah.
And I think it's the green butter that
Yes.
I is
Mhm.
probably my favorite within them right now. But like I said, we're doing one head lettuce called New Fire Red. There's two that are have A's on them. I can't remember, and
Andrina and Alekina?
something like that. Yeah. And so we're experimenting with some head lettuce this year that I'll be really interested in. The romaine. Do you remember what the romaine was called this past year? We're growing it again.
I
Uh,
just planted it. Give me a second.
that was really
Coastal Star.
Coastal Star. That was a very good,
Yes, that was good.
really good.
And we did not grow them very well at all
No,
because it was our first time doing them. It
yeah,
was experiment, and so no, we did not do very well with them at all as far as actually growing them, but they still turned out well.
no. She started out asked, "Do you have experience with tennis ball or little gym lettuce?"
We
And
did Little Gem years and years ago.
about 3 years ago, it was good,
Yeah.
um, but we didn't have a market for it. Little Jim is paired really well, and I can't remember what the other one is. There's two or three other ones that are the same size.
Oh, okay. Now I remember these.
And so what we would do is we'd actually put you can get these artisan lettuces and
Yeah,
in like 4 packs
that's
or
right.
3 packs, and that's what
That's
we were
right.
using those for. But yeah, the taste on the Little Jim was really good.
Yes, it
I
was.
thought so.
Yeah, I was thinking further back
So we got prepped for eternities here. Good evening. Good
than that. Good
evening.
evening.
Starla asked, "Do you know if Yukon Gold are indeterminate?" I believe they are determinate potatoes. I almost said tomatoes,
Tomatoes.
but I believe the Yukon Gold are determinate. Um, the russets are indeterminate. I know that if he's still around in here, that the guy to ask that is going to be um, Hippocrates, Hippocrates Garden. He has done a lot of potatoes, so I know that he will know that answer for sure. I'm way off here. Sorry. Uh,
Seed potatoes.
my Yukon Gold potatoes were so stinking tiny in 2021. This year is their last chance. I'm experimenting with potatoes this year.
Try a different grower. I don't know if you get your seed potatoes from the same person or same store. Another farmer, food farmer in our area. Um, so when we bought seed potatoes, we would get it from the produce guy, the produce wholesale produce supplier. Um, and she was getting hers from the same guy. We were kind of seeing that same thing, is that we were getting small potatoes. Last year, when I talked to her, she had gone back um, to actually a grocery store. I didn't even know this, but it, she was getting seed potatoes from the grocery store. I don't know if they buy them in. I don't know what the deal is there. Anyway, she was getting them from the grocery store, and um, she was going back to them because getting them from this other supplier, her potatoes were not turning out the way that they used to, and um, she was she got better potatoes the next year after going back to where she had gotten them before. So if you're getting them from the same place year after year, you might just try somebody else and see if that helps.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of potatoes are a extremely heavy feeder.
Yes, they are, and
Extremely.
it might be a soil deficiency too.
So that's one thing with potatoes is I and I'm pretty good at doing it all. But if I'm going to do potatoes, I want to know. I try to maintain, and I when I do soil tests, my results. I want 300 pounds of nitrogen per acre on all my vegetables. But potatoes, that's where I'm definitely want that 300 pounds per acre. So when I'm getting my soil test back, that's one thing I'm looking for. So my guess is one is definitely look at your if you're not doing soil tests, get a soil test on that. Um, and you need to have about 300 pounds of nitrogen for that. The Epsom salt, almost everything that's magnesium sulfate, um, almost everything can use more of that. And potassium. There again, some we are really low in phosphorus, and potatoes use quite a bit of phosphorus. I know, but potassium. I thought we were actually pretty good on potassium. We're still short,
Mhm.
so we're still adding potassium to stuff. And there again, we're foliar spraying, which has all three of them in it, but I know we're still low, and we still need to add some more stuff. So that's first when you say small, if they're growing well, that's the first thing I'd be looking for is what is reducing or what is constricting them from being able to produce larger potatoes. So, Starla has said I use fish emulsion and some salt and shredded newspaper and have really good size. And yeah, so the fish emulsion, depending on how often you're using that, or if you're foliar spraying or if you're just adding it in there, is going to be really good stuff too. So,
Mhm.
Starla said I would love to see more of your operation. Parish Island is her favorite romaine. And so, what I would ask Starla is we can do and we want to do more videos, but is there something specific? Is there lives or just sitting down with this and kind of telling you what we're planting, what we're doing? What is it that you want to see more of? Because we'd be more than happy to do more of that, do more videos, or just more walkarounds. And um, we're not afraid to open up exactly how we're doing it, what we're planning, and that's kind of what we do. I mean, that's
Or if you
more than
wanna
happy.
come see what we're doing, that's
Oh,
perfectly fine
absolutely.
too.
We're open. We're open for that. Absolutely. Cul-de-sac says I like the old standby black seeded Simpson leaf lettuce, some of the red ones, and love arugula.
Oh,
So we grow weekly microgreens arugula, and we enjoy adding it, but she does not like
I
spicy.
it's like that much is good for me.
So
Like, it is peppery, and especially full grown arugula. Woo! That stuff can be strong.
so Starla says I need to know an indeterminate type of potato. And again, I am not a potato expert
Mm.
at all. I like eating them,
Yeah.
but um,
There's a guy in Missouri here that's like a potato expert. I'm trying to think of he was at the, homesteading conference. He's the elderberry guy.
yeah,
Um,
if you go back, and I believe it's Doug and Stacy.
it
Stacy
is.
had him on an interview
Yeah.
maybe last spring. I'm not sure
They went through like 15 varieties
of
of
potatoes.
potatoes. Some were
So,
fingerlings and some were just like your baking potatoes. It
but
was
like I said,
good.
Hippocrates Garden has talked. We've talked a little bit about potatoes before, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's as far as I can tell, he's pretty knowledgeable on potatoes. So, and a lot of seeds, right? I mean, so I go to the Asian store and get Starlands, get the white sweet potato stems and root them in water. But my Beauregard I buy because I do not have means to grow thousands of potato slips. Yeah, yeah. Beauregards are wonderful sweet potatoes. I love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love. I like the Beauregard. So cul-de-sac I bought them from Colonial Nursery this year. Trying Wood Prairie might get some grocery store ones and compare.
Hmm.
On potatoes, I put turns and an aspirin side dressing next to each potato once they're about a foot tall. I've heard of people doing the aspirin before. Um,
What does the aspirin do?
I'd have to go back and think about that because I don't remember exactly what it is. More of seeding, tours, and care. So, and
Okay.
and then her next is I want to start on microgreens, but I would be so lost. And that's what
Oh.
I do intend that next week, and I'm going to tell you right here, right now, I will have a microgreens video out on Monday.
It will be for you, Starla.
It will be, if nothing, if for nobody else, it'll be for
It'll be
you.
for you.
So, is there a particular one you want me to start with? Well, I guess you don't know exactly what we grow, so I we've done a overview.
Well, oh no, I was gonna say, didn't she say she liked arugula? But that was
Yeah. So what we'll probably do is I'm going to say
start with the radish
let's do
because
radishes
yeah,
first.
you do.
So
Mhm.
we will do. I will get you a video out on Monday, and I'll have it. We'll have to do an extra one of radish. Let's do sunflowers. Sunflowers are outrageously priced all of a sudden, by the way. So I just ordered another round of sunflowers, and we'll do. I think we've done peas before. I don't think we've done sunflowers before. I'll go back and look, but we'll do peas or sunflowers on Monday, and then every Monday after that, I will start doing radishes. And like I said, I'm going to put an order in for the uh, what's the melons I don't even like.
Cantaloupe.
Yeah, I like watermelon. I like a lot of the melons, but there's
You do not like honeydew or
ugh,
cantaloupe.
they're too sweet. I think, and it's the melony taste. I don't like it.
Watermelon is water.
I like it.
It's just water
No, it's red water.
with little crispies in it
So okay,
or crunchy.
if anyone knows who has bamboo starts, I would love to buy some.
Hmm.
I don't know of any bamboo starts. Just do not let them start out in your yard because you'll never get rid of them.
I'm in a ditch.
I've
Or
we've contained them one. I had a place
be a
where was
natural
it?
fencing.
It is a natural barrier, visual barrier fencing, um, but they will just creep and creep and creep and creep.
You have to put like
I think it was the Missouri Botanical Gardens. We were doing something when we were up there when I was working with the St. Louis arborists. Um,
you have to put like a 6 or a foot.
they put 9 foot steel plate,
Yeah.
quarter inch, 9 foot deep
Yeah,
in the ground,
is your
and
bed.
it still escaped.
Yeah, is
It
your
came
bed.
came up, and they had a 6 or 4 inch lip, and it
Mhm.
didn't come over the top. It came up from underneath of it. It's like, oh, that's crazy. So yeah,
That's a prolific.
and
Prolific.
that's right. And Hippocrates is right on that one. Is some bamboo is clumping, some is running. The clumping is a lot easier to contain.
Oh,
That's very true. So let's see. Get back up here. Yes, Terry the elderberry guy, cul-de-sac. He
that's
uses
it.
Wood Prairie, and that's why I order potatoes from there. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
awesome. So happy. I have a room to dedicate to selling microgreens. Absolutely, and
Cool.
that is a wonderful product to be able to sell out there. So Betsy says I would love a microgreens video. Yes, sunflowers.
Okay.
Yep, it is.
Okay.
It is a done deal. So that we seed. Just so you guys know, for Saturday we seed sunflower and peas on a Sunday. Now it's a 14-day grow. Now peas and sunflowers are just a little bit longer than that. So what we do is we plant Saturday or Sunday.
We
Sunday
soak
we
them
soak them on
Sunday.
Sunday, and we
When
soak them from a 6 to 12 hours. So if you forget, it's not a huge deal. She soaked them for about 6 hours this morning.
yeah, I put
First
them in this
thing,
morning and then planted
so,
this afternoon.
plant this afternoon, but we try to get about a 12-hour soak, and then you plant them Monday, and then not next Wednesday,
Not
or
this Wednesday, but
is it the Wednesday after?
uh-huh.
So it's only actually a 10
10
day
day.
10-day window that we're actually cutting. So it's not the same week; it's the week after that we actually cut. And we cut everything. All of our other microgreens are planted on Wednesdays. So we plant those two on Mondays, plant everything else on
Wednesday.
most everything else. There are some others that we would go back to a Monday, but it's very few far between. I can, when we get to those kind of things, we'll tell you about that stuff. But everything gets cut on that next Wednesday to be able to sell for that Saturday. And that's how we try to we just kind of done it. So Marjorie says I never liked cantaloupe until I started growing them. Now I love them. So I will eat them
There
every now and then,
what was that one,
but
there was one that you did like.
yes, and it was a give me a second.
Honeycrisp? No.
Nope, it was from
It's like a cantaloupe and honeydew mixed together.
but it's small,
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
pretty sure it
small.
was from Israel. It was Middle Eastern descent.
It didn't have your
It very
normal
very
cantaloupe
small.
skin on the outside. It was more of like a honeydew skin on the outside. And I thought we got that from Johnny's too.
The Starlet asked, do you grow any individual sized melons like Rich Sweet 132 or Kajari? This is one of them that I was talking about. It is a personal individual sized melon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was from Johnny's, and I'm going to get that out here in just a second. That's why I want Bambi for barrier and for construction. Yep.
Okay.
And then that would be an awesome little tool to be able to have around is just have bamboo for construction. Just think about all the tomato stakes and all that. That'd be kind of cool.
That is true. I was thinking of
Yeah,
constructing a boat and floating down the river, but
that'd be very interesting. Cane, bamboo cane,
bamboo
for
king.
fishing. That'd be really cool. We used
That
to
is,
buy some
yeah,
of that for river fishing. So
yeah.
it says in Memphis, if you had the right type, the zoo would take what you would harvest sometimes for the pandas.
Oh,
Yep.
well, they eat the green, right? You'd have to cut them green, I think.
So Bessie says, how many different microgreens would you start for a family of 5, and how much would you plant at a time of each, and how long to wait in between for suspension plantings, successional plantings? What she's meaning there. So, how many different types of microgreens would you start for a family? I would start one by one and kind of experiment. Do one, figure out if it's something you like. If it is, then you can keep growing off of that and continue to grow that one. But something like peas is where I would probably start. Almost everybody likes peas. Kids like peas. Everybody likes peas. Um, but peas, you're looking at a 10 by 20 tray,
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking at anywhere between a pound to a pound and a half of peas when you cut them in 10
Mm-hmm.
so many days, 12 days. Um, Pretty easily between that. You can, and there again, peas are one of those things you can let go for probably 14 days. It's gonna be a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more mature, lose a little bit of sweetness, but it's still edible.
Yes, they are a very forgiving microgreen.
They are, they are, and a very very easy start.
Yes.
Um, but that's where I would start. And I would start with probably one tray. 2 trays is pretty is would be doable and kind of see where you need to scale on that one. But as far as from there, it's kind of one of those things. Almost every microgreen tastes like the vegetable it is.
Mm-hmm.
Radishes taste like radishes.
Mm-hmm.
Sunflowers are the exception, I think. They
Mm-hmm.
don't really taste. I can see where they might taste like a sunflower seed a little bit, but it's
They're very
unique.
nutty.
It's unique in that sense that it's
Yeah, and meaty.
yeah. Um, but sunflowers they are a finicky thing. They've got seeds. They've got all this other stuff.
I
Our germination has been poor at best right now. I did order new seed, and we're going to try that new seed. I'm thinking is what you just refilled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to try that and see if that doesn't help. There again, sometimes seed suppliers are. Sometimes it's all about the seed.
As far as how much, our family, if we didn't have lettuce or um we do actually enjoy eating quite a few salads, and or we do tacos, maybe once a week or whatever. Um you could probably get away with, of course it also depends on how big your children are. So our children right now basically are small adults, and I plan on 4 adults eating for our family. And if we were only to grow microgreens and didn't have any other, like, lettuce or anything like that to go with it, I would plan on 1 tray per person for the week, and, so we did this the other night is we had harvested off 1 tray. Actually, it was 1, 2, 3 trays. We did Tokyo Bacana, um, kale, and then we have a mild mix, which is kind of like a mixture of a bunch of different stuff. It's kinda like a salad mix. And we made a salad out of the microgreens. It was very wonderful. Um, but we also had, let's see, I was able to eat on that myself for another 2, 3 meals. So each one of us had a microgreen salad, and it was a big bowl. And I gave some away to his mom when we went and seen her, and I still had just a little bit left over. So it would've, um, you can do a good meal off of it and then have some throughout the week. So I would say 1 tray per adult for a week.
Yeah, if you're doing it for the week, yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that. And there again, it depends on what you're, like you said, what you're doing. That's I think the second video what we'll do is because it's been you didn't you were questioning my decision making at first, but the Tokyo Bacana
Yeah,
is
I did like the Tokyo
quickly
Bacon.
has become one of your favorites,
Yeah.
and it is a high yielding. And you can plant Tokyo Bacana in the ground almost all year long too, protected,
Yeah.
but it does grow well in the summer. But you can grow it as a microgreen as well, and it's a fairly, I'm going to say it, inexpensive seed, but it doesn't take much seed,
Mm-mm.
and you can fill a tray and you can fill a bowl pretty
Yeah,
quickly.
you can.
So it says Starlet asked, so can you use microgreens just to replace lettuce?
Sure.
You can. It's depending on how much you eat lettuce and all this other stuff. It may not be as it's not as cost effective.
Correct. It is a more expensive lettuce. It's gonna be a
It's
higher nutrition
correct.
of lettuce because that's what microgreens are, right? Or like mini packs full
Yep.
of nutrition. But if you don't have the garden space,
Oh, absolutely.
or
Yeah.
if we're in this time of year, and you want something green, it absolutely is a great alternative for lettuce.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
then that's why we sell a lot in the wintertime
Yeah.
is because nobody else has any kind of
Green.
lettuce and stuff. Now we sell a lot of lettuce in the wintertime
Yes.
and spinach and things like that. But it's for a homeowner, and that's where teaching microgreens is awesome because you can grow them all year long inside anywhere for the most part and have a nutrient dense food.
Yes.
So, um, and they don't have the exact variety anymore, but it was a Sharon Tay
That's what it was.
and it's a French melon.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So I say it's a Sharon Tay, but it's CH. Can you type that? Just type that out there. I think we didn't have a quote unquote certain variety. I think it was that word right there. So that's what they were, and they're a personal size. I mean, they're only about that big. So,
Mhm.
and they were really good. I almost say they are like a honeydew or something like that. But
Yeah, they're a mix.
I did like those fairly well. So,
Yeah.
but let's see, are we all caught up? I think so.
Um, Videos where we process microgreens for sale. No, we do not have any videos out there on that.
No, but what we will do is
We got a new
we've got a new tool that we're
we
using
have a
for
new tool, but
now. In the
that's
past, we've always cut it by hand. Now we will show you in these videos how we cut each one. Each one of them are essentially harvested the exact same way, with the exception of maybe peas and sunflowers. But everything else is cut the same way. What we and I'll I'll just say you can do it with a knife.
mhm.
It is I highly suggest people go to if you're going to do microgreens and stuff like that. And I think the cheapest I found them is at Johnny's. They sell a serrated, inexpensive knife, red handled. Um, I'm going to forget what the company is called. It doesn't have the company on it, but it does. Um, Victorinox is
Mm.
the company that makes the knife, and Victorinox is a butcher shop knife. They make very high end knives, but Johnny sells a serrated knife. It's only 8 inches long. It's like a paring knife, but serrated, and those things are extremely sharp.
Yes, they are.
Um, they're like $10 or something. You can get a sheath for them. If you're going to do microgreens and cut them by hand, I highly suggest you get that knife. Um, if not, the upgrade to that, what I call the upgrade to that, is we went and purchased a hand trimmer,
Uh-huh.
hand hedge trimmer. The blades are 4 inches wide, and you can get them off of Amazon. More than happy to put a link up in one of the videos and
I
kind
think
of
it
show you
was like
that.
20 or $30.
It's something like that. It's
Yeah.
battery powered. You just recharge it with a battery. And you can literally tilt your trays up. We still have it, so we'll do a demonstration on these how we're doing this. Um, but you just literally just hedge trim it as you're going, and it just kind of falls into the bowl. And the biggest thing of any of these keeping is cutting it with enough pressure so when you're cutting it like this is not to pull the dirt up when you're
Mhm.
doing this. And that's really the big thing um, with all of it. What we've upgraded to is a quick greens,
A
quick
greens harvester.
quick cut greens harvester. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh.
Now that is an investment. If you get to the point where you're doing multiple microgreens, or you're doing um, like a freestanding lettuce that you're just kind of broadcasting. We're doing some Tokyo Bacana and a what I'm calling a base mix. Um, you can cut that with the greens harvester, but we cut microgreens with the greens harvester, and it literally takes seconds for us to do this. And we'll show you what that is. That's like a $700 tool, though. So it's not for everybody, and I don't. That's not what we're doing it. So I want to show everybody where we started, where we are. It's This is something we just purchased because of the lettuce that we're cutting, and so we're cutting. I can cut a 100-foot bed, 60 pounds of lettuce out of this loose leaf lettuce with this thing in 10 minutes, and so it that's the main reason we got it. If we were just doing the microgreens, that's probably not what we would be doing. Yes, it is invented by by a
I
teenager,
didn't know that.
and the guy that
Is
still
that because they
builds it.
didn't want to do so much work?
He no the guy that owns Farmer's Friend is the teenager.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yes,
Okay.
he was, and I the backstory on that quick greens harvester is it's a very interesting one, but he's kind of an inventor, and that's where he came up with the caterpillar tunnels, and he came up just doing all this tinkering, and they built it,
Hmm.
revised it, and he won. I think he won an award or something. I forget, but yeah, it was developed by a teenager.
There you go.
So
That's cool. I didn't know
anything's
that.
possible if you put your mind to it. And well, we were just watching, just to sidetrack because I like to squirrel. We were watching a YouTube reel or a TikTok or something about a hammer.
Oh
Hammer
yeah.
is you can't reinvent the hammer, or can you? This somebody had put in, and the big thing was it was quick um, a speed square put into a hammer with a octagon head, and you could do everything with that a speed square could do with just your hammer, and do right angles and all. So the point of the whole thing was, while you don't think you could improve on a hammer,
Oh, what else? It had a wrench or something in the bottom of
it
it.
had a wrench for a circular saw on
That's
the
what it
bottom of
was.
it. I
It
mean,
had a for a
all this
key
stuff, all the
for
angles were
this.
on it.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is, though, if you can always improve on designs. It's just how much thought do you want to put into stuff. So Chardonnays, cul-de-sac says, I love your greenhouse tours. And yeah, we're going to do some more of those. And I want to show you guys exactly how. kind of the stuff we've built with and how she's organizing stuff with the seating area and how we set that up. Maybe some of the things that we'd set up differently or things that which she does like about it. So Starlet says tabletop farms characters are sweet, juicy, and wonderful.
Well, she's
Chart.
the Sharon Tays.
Yeah.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
what she's talking
Yes.
about. Love Queen Anne's pocket and
Yes. Anne's pocket is a Chardonnay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm not sure about the other one. I've never heard of that one before. But there again, the one we used to grow is not in Johnny's catalog anymore, but that's not unusual. So hadn't been educated out of being able to think. Yeah. That's and talking about the kid with the quick greens harvester. So absolutely.
You think he was homeschooled or
I don't know the whole
public
story.
education?
Now I know that because they're in Tennessee, so it
Mhm.
wouldn't surprise me. But Ray is pretty good buddies with him too. But
All these people know everybody. It's amazing how small of a world that we actually live in.
how small, but how big?
Yeah.
If you don't know about biscuits and gravy,
Oh my gosh! Like, you gotta love TikTok. I think it was TikTok, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I get confused on all of them now.
Anyways, he we were watching this one this morning of these British kids. They had shown them biscuits and gravy. So
Well, they showed him biscuits.
they showed them biscuits. Yeah, they were teaching them about biscuits and gravy, but they had put biscuits in front of them on a plate and they're like, "What do you think these are?" And they're like, "Well, they're scones." And went through the whole thing, and so they ate the biscuits and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is like awesomeness,"
It's like sweet bread.
Yeah. And but this isn't a biscuit, and they were just like all confused because it you're calling it a biscuit, but it's not a biscuit. And then they added the sausage gravy to it, and they're like,
Well, they told him that biscuits are not generally served by themselves.
"Yes."
They're always paired with
Mhm.
something in America, and they're like, what do you mean paired with something? And so they brought out gravy. Well, British gravy is brown gravy that is pretty watery. So
Yeah.
go ahead. I mean that I just thought that was
You can finish.
well. I just they they poured the gravy, the sausage gravy on there, and people literally all of them were just like that looks disgusting, absolutely horrible. And then they're like, well, do we have to eat this? Do we have to try it? He's like, no, you don't have to try it, but this is just what one of the things that the Americans do. And they tried it, and every one of them finished the plates. They're just like, this is amazing.
You Americans are awesome.
I'm so jealous. So, but then they started talking about beans and toast, and Lisa's like, beans and toast? That's a thing? I was like, see, they didn't know about biscuits and gravy. You didn't know about beans and toast. Yeah,
Biscuits and gravy
that's
is
a British thing.
everywhere.
So, well, beans and toast is
Everywhere.
everywhere in England. So,
I guess.
but
It's almost like SOS to us.
and if you're in the military, you would know exactly what that is. But if you're not in the military, you probably may not know what that is.
Well, that's
So,
true.
but well, I know that Porterhouse and Teal were doing a live. Their first live is tonight.
Yeah, I think they're
So,
on now.
yeah, Haven is a good individual melon. Yep, I do know
Ooh.
that. So I think we're gonna jump off of here. We're gonna do some more videos. I've got seeding to go do in the high tunnel. Talking about lettuce. I've got my base mix of salad greens. Right now, I'm doing a 60% mix of Tokyo Bacana, 20% of the um,
Carrollton
uh,
and Rosie.
is it Carrollton?
Mhm.
It's not Carrollton.
Carlton.
Carlton. Carlton,
Dude,
which
Carlton.
looks exactly like spinach, but it's not spinach. It's an Asian green, but we are going to grow it as an Asian spinach. Tokyo Kana, or not Tokyo Kana, but Tatsoi is kind of an Asian spinach. It looks a little bit like it, but it has a flavor profile kind of like spinach, and so does Carlton. So that's kind of, but the Tokyo pecans are really green, Carlton's a dark green, and then Rosie is a burgundy type, and it's again an Asian green. So we're putting 20% of that in there as well.
It's
And
been real pretty coming up.
yeah,
I mean, the bed's really pretty looking.
so I'm gonna go out and plant some of that, 100 foot of that, and 40-inch bed. So I think we're gonna go do that. If you guys can go over there to Porterhouse and Teal, give them a shout out that we sent you over there. But check us out there again. Tag and Bee is, I believe they're doing Friday again. I'm supposing they
Are they
are.
back on schedule?
I'm back. I'm thinking they're back on schedule, and
Okay.
Grumpy Acres is tomorrow night. So until next time,
Pull up a chair.
and welcome to Tabletop Farm. Good night, y'all.
See ya.